Day. Isn't this amazing that all of us ladies can get together for International Women's Day? I hope you're doing something really, really fun or exciting, just honoring yourself and the wonderful women in your lives. And I couldn't think of a better way to honor women than obviously serving the Women's Council of Realtors. So thank you so much for having me back again. Before we get into today's training, I am really interested in finding out how many of you are new to the webinar. So for those of you that don't know, I did a webinar in January about smart strategies to make more time. And then I did another one in February about time blocking. So if you are new and this is your first webinar with me, can you just raise your hand? You should have a little icon where you can just like raise your hand on the menu. Yes. Okay. So we have a few of you guys coming on. So Angela, welcome. Ada, welcome. Let's see. Okay. We got, oh, lots of you ladies are new. Jessica and Joanna and Heather. Okay, this is excellent. So I got good news for you. You're kind of getting a 3-in-1 today, because that means that you can go back and listen to or watch previous webinars that were recorded. So they're all recorded for all of you, and it's part of your membership and benefits. So definitely take advantage of that. I think we will figure out how to point you in the right direction. Maybe Olivia will come on at the end and let us know exactly how to go back and listen to those. And so just to recap, one of them was all about time blocking. And so we got a lot of great feedback on that one. And then again, in January, it was smart strategies to make more time in 2018. Alrighty, so let's see. Awesome. So I am a girl that does not like to waste time. And I know that you've really, really committed to being here with me today for about an hour. And I don't take that lightly. I honestly consider this an honor because you're investing your time in me, but I want you to consider this as an investment of time in yourself. So just to make sure you're in the right place and that this is a training for you, I want to let you know that this training is for you if you've experienced the challenges with routines in the past. So have you tried it and it didn't work, they didn't stick, or they didn't evolve with you with different seasons of your life? Then you're in the right place. If you have executed your routines inconsistently, so you have good days and bad days, and some weeks you do them and some weeks you don't. How about if you lack structure and stability in your days? What this might look like is, oh my gosh, you're reacting to your days. You feel like the days and the weeks are just flying by. You are kind of just holding on for the ride. Then you're in the right place. Or how about if you face unexpected events that throw you off course? Now, this is kind of like the bingo freebie, because anyone that's listening right now, we all have these times where we're going about our days and our weeks and the kids get sick, which for those of you that have been following and watching some previous episodes, you know I have a son that's 7, so I've been at home the last 3 days with him sick, so I totally get it. So what do you do to ensure that you're going after your goals in an amazing, aggressive, consistent way, even when life throws you the unexpected events? And do you need help staying on track towards your goals? Now, this is a little bit of a secret, but I truly believe the way to stay track on consistently achieving our goals is through routines. So, and lastly, if you just simply lack, personal productivity, efficiency in your business, or organizational skills, then I believe that you can improve all of those areas with daily routines. So without any further delay, I want to make sure that you're in the right place. So go ahead and stay if any of that sounds appealing to you. All right, so what are you actually going to get out of our time together? Now, I like to know what to expect, and I know that you registered because you had an idea that this would help you in your business, in your profits, and your productivity. But I'm going to be specifically teaching you the correlation between well-crafted routines and productivity, and how to find the right balance of structure to flexibility each day. And that's a biggie, because some of you are craving structure and some of you are saying, oh no, I don't want routines because I am no longer able to be flexible in my business. Well, I'm going to share with you how you can have both. The art of bookending your day with 4 meaningful routines, and I'm going to dive into each of those routines and talk about them in detail. And then lastly, 3 useful tips for engineering routines that foster success. So how do you make them, how do you create them? And then most importantly, how do you maintain them? And so much more. So stay tuned and let's dive right in. Now, I am already telling literally, I appreciate your time here. And we're all grown-ups and we all have businesses, but I just want to give you a few reminders. It is so easy to watch a webinar and get distracted because honestly, most of us have multiple screens up and tabs up and things like that. I want to invite you to practice your best productivity skills for the next 50 minutes. And so by doing that, I want you to turn off all distractions. And this is your cell phones. Give yourself the gift of this by investing. So close your doors, give yourself the time to discover what is in this webinar and training for you. Simple does not mean easy. So you might be listening and say, okay, yeah, Amber, I've heard that before, or I've heard a version of that before. You may have, you may not have, and it may seem simple, but don't fool yourself. That doesn't mean that it's easy. Sometimes the simplest things we overlook and overcomplicate. And so I'm here to give you some simple strategies that you can implement to get results. So don't discount anything that's being said today. And lastly, now this is a biggie, ladies, I want you to take action. There is too much information out in the world. I'm sure this isn't the first webinar you've been on, or training, or YouTube video, or podcast episode. I am not trying to pollute the world with more content. What I'm trying to do is inspire you, teach you the things that you need to take action in your own personal life and business. And so the biggest thing that you can do after this webinar is to go take action. And I'll remind you at the end, but that's our goal. So as I go through the content today, I want you to think, what can you take action on? Now, we had a lot of new ladies here on the webinar today. And so I know some of you have heard this from previous episodes or previous webinars, but I want to share with you where I come from and why am I even here speaking to you? Like, how did I become the productivity specialist? My story actually goes way back. I've actually been in the real estate world since 1997. I literally interned 1 day a week, like 8 hours a day, or one full 8-hour day, and went to school 4 days a week in high school. So junior, senior year, I had a passion for real estate. I went on to college and I got a degree in real estate and business management. And through that time, I worked my way up in multiple positions. I ran teams. I was a team manager. I sold real estate. I then graduated college. I went and started my own business, individual sales agent. And then I really realized early on that I had a passion for coaching and teaching, training. And so I actually interviewed with the #1 real estate company here in Las Vegas. We had, at the time, about 1,300 agents and 7 offices. And I went in and I said, look, I've been with your company for, at that time, it was about 8 years between college and interning in my own real estate business. And I said, just give me an opportunity. I have this passion and I will prove to you that I can do it. And so they started me literally like second over receptionist. And so I took a big step back, but within 6 months, I was promoted to the position that I desired, which was coaching and training. And it was during that time that I would meet with real estate professionals just like you, like very successful. So I worked with the top 20% in the real estate brokerage that I worked for. And I worked with the top 20% that were already like slaying it. Like they had great GCI, gross commission income. They wanted to build teams. They needed business systems. And we had the models for that. And I helped create the models, but also coached and trained on those models. Now, You would think that's a perfect formula for success. But in my experience, what had happened is I would go from coaching session to coaching session with my clients, and they would say the same thing. They would tell me that they were overwhelmed and out of time, and that they were too busy working in their business and not on their business. I want you to take a moment and answer. Just raise your hand. So you have a little icon, raise your hand and tell me if you can relate to either being overwhelmed, out of time, or you are too busy working in your business and not on your business. Yeah, so yes, so I'm not going to name anybody out. I can see those of you that are raising your hands. I want to thank you for participating. There are so many of you raising your hands to the fact that it can be a struggle. So I didn't know it at the time, but that seed is what fueled me to start my business 6 years ago and become a coach and trainer, all about productivity, because I felt that productivity was the missing link and skill set that, if learned, you can then go out in the world and take advantage of all the opportunities around you. You see, if you watch this webinar and then you leave and you say, I don't have enough time and I'm overwhelmed, and you don't take action, then you've kind of wasted the time here. What I was looking to do is first discover, and I did a ton of research, like, is productivity and organization a skill set that can be learned? And I came to the conclusion that it absolutely is. And once I knew that it was a skill set that can be learned, I was on a mission to teach it. And that, I felt like, was the missing link to success, is that how do we show up and take action, like right here, like take action and focused action. These are my mottos. They hang up in my office. So how do you take focused action on a consistent basis? And I believe that's through productivity. So long story short, and the reason that I tell you that is that it has everything to do with where we're going, that I believe in you, and that I know that you can learn this. All right, so we're here talking about routines, right? Okay, so do you think that routines are boring? I would guess some of you think so. How about too structured? Like, okay, if I have routines, I can't really have the freedom of entrepreneurship and being a real estate agent. Do you feel that routines are just too formal? Like, it's not you, maybe you're a more creative or kind of like a fly by the seat of your pants kind of lady? How about too rigid? Like, you feel like you can't enjoy life because you're in these routines. All right, how about restricted? These are common words that when I've asked my clients what their thoughts are about routines, this is what they came back to me. They were like, they're boring, they're structured, they're formal. And so I give a big thumbs down to this. I mean, I agree. Nobody wants that. So I'm going to say that routines do not need to be that way. Routines can work for you. Routines are actually, and the way that I'm going to teach them to you, going to give you more flexibility, more dependability to be creative, to show up with your clients and be present, to go after your goals in a bigger way. Honestly, routines are, this is what I call routines. Routines are habits stacked on top of each other. And that is like a paradise zone, in that you get to go after your goals in a very consistent way. So I'm going to give a big thumbs up to routines. Okay. All right. So I want you all to I just cleared it out from the last question. Just give me a high five. And that means thumbs up to routines. You are open to learning how routines can help support your growth of your business and your productivity. All right, ladies, go ahead. Give me some thumbs up. Yes, yes. Okay, tons of you. All right, you are saying yes to routines. Now, routines are simply habits layered on top of each other, and that when they're performed in a specific sequence. So routines are habits layered on top of each other that are performed in a particular sequence. Now, I learned that from an interview that I did with Steve Scott. Now, Steve Scott has about, I'm guessing to try and remember here, but over 15 books about habits. And he is a master about habits. And I interviewed him on my Productivity Straight Talk podcast, episode 16. So you can get that anywhere you listen to podcast episodes. And I don't have time to, pour into you today all of the wisdom that was in that episode, but I did interview Steve Scott, and I think this would be a great addition to what you're learning with me here today. Now, I kind of referred to it, but let me repeat this again. When we create habits, I refer to those as your paradise zone, because when you have habits, it's so easy. It's like effortless. Okay, tongue twister. Meaning you are not feeling that resistance anymore. Now, the time that it takes to build the routine, you might be feeling some resistance or inconsistencies. But I want you to think for a moment. You may have said, I don't have any routines in my life, or I'm just, every day is different, and I really don't think that I have, or that you see routines. You have routines all around you, okay? Do you put shampoo before conditioner? Do you put your pants on before your shirt, or your shirt before your pants? Do you brush your teeth before you get in the shower or out of the shower? How about the way you drive to your office or pick up your kids? Or honestly, I can go on, and I bet you're like, oh, yes, there are routines all around you. Now, you could have a routine that you get home and you watch Netflix for the rest of the night, or you have a routine of, late night staying up and going down to the kitchen and getting some chocolate or something salty like chips. You see, all of these are routines. Whether they're working for you or against you, they're all around you. And so I want you to take an inventory about these routines, because routines are a force to be reckoned with. You see, routines create so much momentum, and they're so easy, just like habits. And because they're habits stacked on top of each other, they're either going to work for you or against you. So I want you to make sure that you make routines work for you and not against you. So I'm going to say that one more time. Our goal today is to make your routines work for you and not against you. Do you snooze multiple times in the morning before you start your day? Do you stay up late kind of vegging out and doing really nothing very productive, and therefore in the morning you're really groggy? Or do you have a routine where you start your day and invest in yourself so that you start the day with a positive mindset and good energy and making great decisions about how you're investing your time? You see, both are happening, but which one are you choosing? And I want you to choose the habits and routines that propel you towards your goals, because they're compounded every day, because they seem seamlessly small decisions. They're easy decisions to make or not make. And so I want you to make the decision that you're going to compound positive habits day in and day out to routines that satisfy you. Now, what kind of habits are we talking? What kind of routines are we talking about? I want you to ask yourself, what behaviors or actions do you need to do daily that, if compounded over time, will enable you to achieve your goal? Okay? Now that's a long question, but let me break this down to you. I want you thinking way out. What does the end of 2018 look like? What does it look like when you retire from your business? Or what does it look like when your kids grow up out of the house? Big picture. Because you have to be clear with the bigger picture to really ask yourself, who do I need to be? What actions do I need to take? And what behaviors, if done consistently day in and day out, will allow me to achieve my bigger goals and vision of success? Okay? So ask yourself that. Do you need to be a person that wakes up at a certain amount of time and gets a little exercise in the morning? Do you need to be a person that maybe starts their day with a very productive activity like lead generating or lead follow-up, so that compounded day after day, even if it's a little investment of just 30 minutes a day, will get you to your goals, both financially and personally? I want you to think about routines like the tortoise and the hare. Routines are the belief that the tortoise wins. Slow and steady wins the race. All right? So slow and steady wins the race. The hare is erratic, right? And he like runs, and then he sleeps, and he relaxes, and then he gears up, and he's frantically racing to the finish line, and he's really not believing that the tortoise could ever possibly win. But as you know in this story, the tortoise wins, and he wins because he's consistent, and that he believes that when he's doing slow and consistent action, he will finish the race. So I want to ask you, have you finished the race? Are you even racing, or are you sitting back like the hare saying, all right, tomorrow's another day. Tomorrow I'll get after it. Tomorrow I'm going to get after my projects or my high value activities. In real life for you and your business, what this looks like is one day you lead generate for 2 or 3 hours, and then the next day you're like, yep, I'm going to do it. And you wake up and you're like, no, maybe the next day, maybe the next day. And so now you're down to just a few days a week, or maybe 1 day a week, instead of saying, I can do 30 minutes 5 days a week, or I can do 1 hour 5 days a week, consistently compounded over time. Now, I picked out this picture, and I actually later, after reviewing my slides again, realized, do you see that the tortoise is holding an egg with the spoon in his hand? Okay, look how focused he is. Now, this was not on purpose. I didn't even realize this is what he was doing. But he's not only able to be slow and steady, but he's moving with focus and purpose to get over the finish line. And that's what I want for you today. I want everybody to leave here and say, I am proudly a tortoise. I'm slow and steady wins the race. Okay, so using routines and stacking habits that support the achievement of your goals will ensure that you're consistently achieving many goals, not just hyper-focusing on achievement at the expense of all else. Now, I wanted to put all of this on a slide. I hate that there's so many words on a slide, but I really want you to hear this. Are you focusing on consistently achieving many goals instead of hyper-focusing on 1 or 2 goals? And what this means is, when you hyper-focus on completing a project in your business, or hyper-focus on lead generating at the end of the year to get your numbers, that's stressful. And oftentimes we do that at the expense of other goals, like our personal life, our personal health, our family, stress. And so you have these erratic up and downs in your business and life. I'd rather you see consistency every day, and then you look up and you slayed your 2018 goals. Now, it's going to feel not that hard. It's going to feel like it's easy and you're moving with ease. And I think we can all agree that everyone on this webinar wants ease on achieving their goals. All right, so we do not want to be just hyper-focused on 1 goal at the expense of all else. All right, so my recommendation is that you bookend your day, okay? Now, this is a framework that I created because I felt that we needed to kind of look at our day like this. Okay, so this is bookending your day. So all the books in the middle could be the chaos that happens. Deals fall apart, employees call out, kids get sick. There's so much variables to your day, and especially as a real estate professional. As a real estate professional, there's almost no day that looks like the previous day. And so I want you to think of bookending your day like the structure you need to hold the middle of the day together. Okay, so this is, you can actually find these if you actually fell in love with them like me on Amazon, they sell them. And so I want you to think of bookending your day like just forcing the middle of your day to not bubble over into not being productive the next day, or maybe coming home in a bad mood because you felt burnt out and overwhelmed and you didn't get anything done. With bookending your day with routines, you're sure to succeed and go after your goals, even if the entire day hits this, I'm trying to edit myself, hits the ceiling. Okay, you can fill in the blanks. So we've all had days like that. All right, so the first one, so here are the types of routines to bookend your day. I believe that we all need to have 4 routines. And the first routine that you're going to have are morning routines. Now, you're going to have 2 morning routines. One is your personal morning routine. I can't say this enough. Productivity does not start when you get to the office, or you take your first client out, or you open your laptop. Productivity starts with an investment in you. Who you are personally is who you show up as in your business. Okay, so who you are personally is who you show up as in your business. You have to invest in yourself. And I really believe that this morning routine, when you put it around yourself, really props you up to be the best you can be. And what I mean by that is when there's so many things that can happen. Now, I don't know about you specifically, but I can guess that you're probably wearing 15 hats. What do I mean by that? You're probably maybe a spouse, a boss, a real estate professional. You contribute in your community. You may be a parent, either to your children or fur babies. The list is literally going on and on. You probably chauffeur your kids around. You volunteer in their sporting events. I could literally probably spend the rest of the webinar naming all the ways that we as women and men, but women really wear a lot of hats. I have learned that to wear all those hats with your head up high and proudly, you have to invest in yourself. Now, I wish I had come up with this. I did not. I actually learned it through a book, and I'm going to make a reference to a book to you. I could restate it and reframework it all I want, but Hal Elrod said it best. Now, he has a book called The Miracle Morning, and it is a really, really, really good book. And I have it on my, I have a bunch of books. So I have like 10 books, the highest, referred books for business and personal on my website, and you can go to theproductivityspecialist.com/toolbox, and in there I give all the apps and tools that I use to run my business, but I also have a section of books that I refer. Now, he also has a version specifically for real estate professionals. So he has a Miracle Morning for real estate professionals. So I would definitely go on Amazon and take a look and see if you can find this book. So what Hal teaches in his book is that we need to have something called savers. And savers is the framework to ensure that we're investing in ourselves. And so it goes a little bit like this. It's silence, so whatever that means to you, meditation, prayer, affirmations. A is for affirmations. V is for visualization. E is for exercise. R is for reading, and S is for scribing, like writing or journaling or getting your task list out of your head. This framework, I'm going to reference him and how you can create your own personalized morning routine based on the frameworks that he gives. All right, so I want to see, okay, so I want to see by a raise of hands. I think I have it here. Here we go. I want to see by a raise of hands who has a morning routine currently, that you are pretty darn consistent with it and you are like, yes. So raise your hand. Yes, I have a morning routine and it sets me up for success. All right, awesome. Amy and Angela and Carol. All right, ladies. Zelda. All right, the list. So many of you ladies have a morning routine, and I bet if I could bring you on, you would say, yes, even if the rest of the day doesn't feel productive, I've invested in myself, and that's what I want for you. Okay, so let's go to the next morning routine. All right, so the next morning routine is your business routine. So you've just did a personal one, you've invested in yourself, and now I want you to transition to bookending your day with a morning routine, business. Now, this is where I think a lot of people go on autopilot. They roll over and they start checking their emails, scrolling through Facebook, you know, kind of come into the office maybe, or start their day in the office, whether at home or in your broker's office, randomly, erratically, different times of the day. And what this is that you're just winging it. And what I would love is that you set yourself up with a time to start your business day. And this may, you know, fly by the seat of the pants, like, okay, Amber, you told me there was freedom in this. But there is freedom. You get to choose whether you start at 10, you start at 9 or 8, or, you know, even 11 o'clock because you're more of a night owl. You get to choose when, but what I'm telling you is I believe that you will achieve far more and increase your productivity if you have a consistent time that you start your day. Now, again, this is a framework. There are so many things that you could put into your day, your business routine. But remember I was saying that it's habits stacked on top of each other? So, and it's up to you to define what behaviors and actions you need to do on a daily basis that will allow you to achieve your goals. So this is where the freedom comes from. What do you need to do in your business mode on a daily basis that will get you closer to your goals? Now, I'm going to just throw out some ideas. How about lead follow-up, lead generation, writing thank you notes, contacting people in your sphere of influence. If you have a team, you need to touch your team before you touch your work, so you're setting them up for success. What is it that you need to do so that if you did it compounded every day would set you up? And that you're the tortoise and not the hare, which means are you sporadically coming in and being your best 1 or 2 days a week and you find exhaustion and undependability with that? Or do you want the dependability of coming in day after day after day and with ease achieving your goals? All right, so I just cleared it out again. I want to see, so this one I think I'm going to see a lot less ladies with a business morning routine, but I would love for you to prove me wrong. So go ahead and raise your hand if you have a solid business morning routine. So that means you start your day the same time every day, and you have a few activities that you do on a consistent basis. Okay. Barbara Smith, I'm going to give you a big shout out. Beverly Jackson, big shout out. Ladies, it's worth getting a shout out and Carol Fisher, because ladies, there's not very many of you in here that currently have a business morning routine. All right, Deanna, excellent. Jeannie. Okay, so what this tells me is that maybe this is the action that you want to take moving forward. Now, I know that several of you are new, and so you're new to me, but I need to tell you what my methodology is. My methodology is that I want you to choose one thing and do it really, really well. I don't want you to leave this webinar and feel overwhelmed and be like, I have no routines, I need 4 routines. No, I want you to pick one routine, create the habit and consistency, and then build upon that. All right, I'll remind you ladies at the end, but definitely do not get overwhelmed with all of this. So your morning business routine should always entail you investing your best time into your best activities. So this is how I define productivity. There's a lot of productivity people out there, time management people. We all have a different flavor of what we define productivity as. I define it as investing your best time into your best activities. And that's why I'm not telling you what you should do. I'm giving you the framework to create the optimal routine that is best for you and your goals. You will not hear me say that you have to start your day at 8 a.m. or 7 a.m. because your goals might be to take your kids to school or to do a long, 90-minute workout at the gym. Now, if I were to come in and tell you what was right or wrong, that's not a lot of freedom. And I already told you these routines are not going to be boring. They're not going to be strict and stiff because they are you. They are an extension of what it is you want for your life. All right. So that brings us to the second portion of our routines, which are evening routines. Okay. So evening routines, you're going to have two of them. I'm sure you guessed, is that you're going to have a business routine for the evening and a personal routine in the evening. Alrighty, so let's start off with the business evening routine. Now, I'm going to be straight honest with you. The business evening routine is what I have found to be the most challenging with real estate professionals. And I'm not doing that to give you, like a get out of jail free card or pass. I'm doing it because once we acknowledge it and we get the elephant out of the room, now we can make a choice to do it different. As real estate professionals, your days end different times every day. Sometimes it's after being at a listing appointment. Sometimes it's after showing property. Sometimes it's from the office. And so there's a lot of inconsistency with our days and where and when we end our days. And because of that inconsistency, sometimes it's hard to, tie that routine down. Now, I'm challenging you because I've got clients that have figured it out, so I know that it's possible. I'm challenging you to figure out how to carve like 15 minutes out. And here's my quick and dirty tip, and we'll talk about some more tips towards the end of the webinar. But here's my quick and dirty tip on how to ensure that no matter when you end your day or where you end your day, that you have a business evening routine. Now, if you are looking at your schedule and you're planning your day and you're going to be in the office till 4, I want you to start your routine at 4:45. Now, that doesn't matter if you have a 5 o'clock listing appointment or if you have a late showing appointment. Do it before you're done with the day. And if it's not possible for you to do it when it's the end of your day because you're out in a remote location, then plan for it, okay? This will make more sense once I go into some of the ideas I have for your business evening routine. All right, so for those of you that were on a previous webinar, and I think it was the first webinar, Smart Strategies to Make More Time, I shared with you my 5 daily planning papers. And if you want an entire episode about the 5 daily planning papers where I go in depth about them and how to plan your day to set yourself up for success the next day, you can do that by going to my podcast episode, Conquering Your Day Using the 5 Daily Planning Papers. And you can find it at the link here, or for those of you that are already listening to my podcast, just scroll back through iTunes or anywhere that you listen to my podcast and look for episode 13. So I just wanted to make sure you got this as an additional bonus, content to what we're talking about today. But let me just briefly go over this with you. I think that a good evening routine can be done in about 15 minutes for work. And essentially what you're doing is putting like a stop to the end of your day. And you're reviewing what was in your day, the current day. You're capturing anything that needs your attention that needs to get on your task list. So first, you're reviewing your current day. Number 2 is that you're reviewing the next day. Number 3 is that you're doing a brain dump. So this is all the random things we think about that get forgotten if not captured. Number 4 is that once you have all of your tasks in one place and you've brain dumped and you've captured in all of the relevant triggers that I teach inside the 5 daily planning papers, you're going to prioritize. And then once you prioritize, number 5 is that you're going to time block it into your schedule. So I think it's definitely worth it. This is 15 minutes. a day commitment to bookend your day to seriously set you up for success the next day. So perhaps this is your one action item. All right, ladies, so that takes us to our fourth routine. And our fourth routine is the personal evening routine, okay? Now, again, this is based on your goals and you and who you are. You'll always hear me say that. So maybe exercise just is not your thing in the morning. Like it just isn't working for you. Well, maybe your evening personal routine is exercise, or maybe that's your quiet time after you put the kids to sleep. I want you to create a routine in the evening that's setting you up for success. My routine, literally, laugh at it or not, my alarm goes off at 9:30 on my phone that says, go to sleep and take vitamins. And so I would forget to take my vitamins, so I needed a reminder, I needed a trigger. And also, like, I needed something to physically, like, buzz and beep and, you know, sing at me, because I needed to determine that I was making a conscious choice to either stay awake late and know that I'd be groggy the next day, or go to sleep and get a good night's sleep for the next day. And so for me, that's my routine. I'm going to share another personal routine just to give you an idea. So one of my goals is to be what I envision a good mom. And for me, that's quality time with my son. And I mean, let's be honest, the days go by really fast, right? And you get home and it's dinner and it's homework and it's practice, like my son does jiu-jitsu practice. And that time between, you know, getting home and getting the kids and going to bed, like, literally goes like this. And maybe it's just in my house, but I'm guessing it's not. I'm guessing that it's in your house too. And so I just didn't like the feeling of never being able to, like, slow down and, like, really connect with my son. So I implemented 30 minutes, so at 8:15 every single, you know, weeknight of the week at 8:15. My alarm goes off again, so there you go. And I put my son to sleep, and no phone in the room. I have 30 minutes. We read a book. I ask him about his day. We talk about my day. And it's just what I know that I need to do as part of my evening personal routine that compounded every day will get me to my goal and vision of success, which is having a really good relationship with my son. And so what I was able to do is ask myself the question I asked you. Who do I need to be? What behaviors do I need to have or do and activities to be the person that achieves the goal and vision of success, right? So who I needed to be for me was present with my son, was connecting with him at least once every single day. So that is a little bit behind the curtains of how I've created a personal evening routine. And that compounded over time, I have faith that will get me to the finish line, that when I send my son off into the world, he will remember that time that I have invested in him. Okay? So I want you to give it some thought. What personal evening routine can you do? Don't overthink it. Don't make it super hard. It doesn't even need to be a 30-minute routine. Maybe something super simple to start out with. So these routines are essential because I feel like it is so easy to allow the days, the weeks, and the months to go by and spend little to no time on what matters most. And by bookending your day with these 4 routines, the entire rest of the day could have nothing to do with your goals, right? Like, they could be putting out fires, they could be, you know, tending to transactions, but at least you had these 4 opportunities each day to aggressively and consistently go after your goals. Because I don't want you to look back and say, oh my gosh, another quarter went by, I didn't hit my goals. Another year went by, I didn't hit my goals. I know that with routines, it will empower you to be more consistent on doing the activities that will make you not feel like you didn't accomplish anything. I want you to feel accomplished. All right, ladies. So I see some questions here going on. I believe Olivia has been answering them. So I'm sorry, because I was going on with the webinar, I wasn't able. So yeah, Olivia answered them. So thank you so much for taking care of that, Olivia. All right, ladies, next, and ladies and maybe a few cool dudes, I know that there's some definitely great men out there that are in Women's Council of Realtors, so I definitely want to recognize you as well. All right, so to close out today, I'm going to give you 3 tips that will help you create and maintain routines, because honestly, right, you've heard of routines that you know you maybe wanted to have a morning routine and you intended to have a morning routine. But I want to give you some tips on how to create and, most importantly, maintain them. All right. Number 1 is identify your current habits. Now, I referenced this in the beginning, but remember when I was talking about seeing things like, do you brush your teeth and then get in the shower, or get in the shower and then brush your teeth? Do you, you know, I don't know. There's so many, and I'm lapsed for examples right now. But I want you to find the routines you currently do. How about when you go into the office? Do you go get a cup of coffee, chat for 10 minutes, maybe even 15 minutes, and it's more of a social time instead of getting right into your work? So I've talked a lot about 15 minutes. So 15 minutes compounded over a year, if reinvested in the right activities, is actually over 40 hours a year saved. Okay, so let me say that again. 15 minutes. So if you're spending 15 minutes at the coffee machine chit-chatting, and you took that 15 minutes and invested it in your best activities and through routines, that compounded over time is over 40 hours a year. And for most of us, that's an entire work week. An entire work week that you could be taking vacation because you have put in the work of going towards your goals for that 15 minutes over the entire year. So I want you to think about it for a second. Where are your current habits? Once you know what your current habits are, I want you to ask yourself, are they working for you or against you? Okay? Working for you or against you? And you need to be honest about this. Now, I don't want anybody going on a crash diet and changing everything about them. And when I say crash diet, I mean not in the food diet, but like, okay, I'm not gonna Netflix and I'm gonna wake up early. I don't want you to go changing everything, because let me tell you this, the tip that's not on here, so we'll call it a 4th bonus tip, is again, slow and steady wins the race. So what that means is you need to choose what you're gonna work on, focus on until it becomes a habit, and not try to change everything at once. So I want you to identify your current habits. And then once you identified your current habits, what you're going to do is build upon those using triggers. Okay? So here's a great example. And I don't have the episode number, but I interviewed my really good friend, Linda Fogg Phillips, and she's the president of the Tiny Habits Academy. And she talks about how you can build tiny habits. It's one of the first few episodes, so if you go back, you'll definitely find it. But if you have just a tiny habit, and so what she taught me was, my highest and best activity is to create content. What I needed to do is just open up the document. So open up a Word document so I could start creating content. So the habit wasn't to create the content. The habit was to sit down at my desk and just open up the document. And the way in which she taught us to make sure that that happens is that I add it to habits that are already being done as a trigger. So let me give you an example. I walk in my office every single day. I take a water bottle and I fill up my aromatherapy machine, humidifier machine. And then I turn on my salt lamp, and I turn on the computer. Like, I have this little routine. Oh, before all of that, I hang up my purse on the rack. Like, it's little stuff, right? But compounded, that's my routine. And so what she said was to use that trigger. So as soon as I turn on my computer and I sit down, I'm to open up the document to start my content. And what that does is allow me to build upon things that are already ingrained and habitual and easy, and build on one more thing that now, habits stacked on top of each other, become a routine. And there is where we started in today's webinar. So you want to do, number 2 is triggers. The last tip that I have for you is rework your routines until they work for you, until they're right. So what I find often when I have clients that come to me and before I start working with them and experiences with routine is that they see that I tried them and they didn't work and they throw them out the window. And or I was stressed, or I got sick, or the kids got sick, or I went on vacation and they weren't working for me, so I threw them out the window. That is not the time to throw your routines out the window. What I would rather you do is rework your routines so they're right for you. What this means is that let me give you an example. So while Linda told me to open the document first thing in the morning, I had to play with that routine because I actually go against one of the biggest productivity sayings, and that's to do your highest value activity first thing in the morning. And I realized that I needed to be warmed up like a car. I needed to have some wins in my day to then go into my deep work, which is content creation. So I needed to rework my routine, and that I came in, I tackled a few things off my to-do list that were kind of easy, that were quick wins, and that momentum and that like spike of, you know, hormones, dopamine of like, oh, I got this, I'm making traction. Then I immediately, once I get those identified tasks done, go right into my content creation. So you see, the first the recommendation that my friend Linda gave me didn't work for me. So I had to make it work for me. And that's what I'm inviting you to do. Make the routines work for you. And when you make them work for you, because every single one of you ladies that are on here are unique. You have different responsibilities. You're in different seasons of your life, different seasons of your business. And so when we can be true to who we are and our authentic selves, but take it up a notch and challenge ourselves outside our comfort zone, you will find that being consistent, like the tortoise, is a lot easier. All right, so those are my 3 tips. All right, I have just a few things before we close out here today. So just a few next steps. All right, so do you want more profits in your business in less time? I can help. So you might be wondering, like, why am I doing a webinar? I offer a ton of free content. But if you're looking to take your business to that next level, I offer one-on-one coaching as well as group coaching. And today I'm offering a success breakthrough session for free. So if you want to get an idea of what it's like working with me, I'm going to offer a 30-minute free success breakthrough session. Some of you ladies have already taken me up on this offer from previous webinars, but there are so many of you that haven't. So who am I looking for, and why do I say apply? I'm looking for amazing entrepreneurial real estate professionals who have big goals that are challenged with time. And so if you are a go-getter and you really want to make a difference in your business and life, and you feel that coaching can help you get there, I would love for you to apply. It's a simple application. It just lets me get to know you so that when we jump on our session, we can dive right into getting to showing you how to reclaim 5 hours per week. So that's my promise to you. I'm going to show you how to reclaim 5 hours per week. Think of this as a gift. 5 hours a week could transform your life. You could get more sleep. You could spend more time with your children. You can take up a hobby. You can aggressively go after your goals. So go ahead and take me up on that by applying at the successbreakthroughsession.com. And I am so happy to tell you that we're going to have another webinar next month. And the webinar is going to be on April 12th, same time, same place. They will be promoting it shortly. And it's going to be the truth about productivity, common myths debunked. So common myths debunked. I'm going to go into why you should not shame yourself, why productivity and your definition of productivity are different, why you've heard so many things about time management and productivity and they haven't worked for you. It's because I'm going to debunk those myths. I'm going to tell you why they're not working for you and give you solutions to ensure that you are excelling in your own personal productivity and growth in your business. So go ahead and stay tuned. We are definitely going to get that out. Now, Lastly, if you wanted to know where to find my podcast, this is a really good sampling of what you'll get in my podcast. I give you the straight talk about productivity, and I interview some really, really cool people. So I alternate between teaching and solo episodes like this and interviewing people about their productivity, their journey, their businesses, how they are productive in their businesses. So if that's of interest to you, go ahead and find me anywhere that you can listen to podcast episodes. All right, ladies, thank you for staying on. We had a great, great attendance, and thank you for participating. And I hope you will be back with us next month on April 12th. All right, over to you, Olivia. I think we're done.
All right, thanks everybody for attending. Just so you know, this webinar recording, along with the other recordings, will be available on WCR.org, online events, under recordings, and you will need to sign in to access this content. Thanks again, Amber. We're thrilled to have you, and we'll see you next month.
All right, awesome. Bye. Have a productive day.
Bye.